Hey everybody, this is Activities Across Grade Levels. We are excited to have you here today. We love doing this every week, sharing ideas so that no matter what grade level you teach, you've got something to take back and to try out with your kiddos and do the smart thing, right? Try it out and then ask them, what do you guys think? How should we change it so it would be good for your learning? Those kinds of questions are good for kiddos to hear. They love working with teachers who listen to them in the just saying department, right? So today we're going to talk about Jamboard, and we have imported an expert. All right. Oh, and look at Rushton. Excellent. The captions are now on. Why? Because he put a visual reminder in place. Yes. All right. So some thanks need to go out here. We got several folks to thank because that's just a good thing to do in life. If you don't thank people when you should, that's your karma. So all of the good folks in Fowler Unified, we love that we get to borrow Susan and do this thing on a regular basis. We hope that you are learning great things with it. So thank you for being there. All of the good folks at the Krause Center for Innovation at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills. Merit 20, woo, and all of the other cool programs there. Feel free, if you're kind of like, wait, what's all that about? Stay in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with all those good folks and the cool programs that they run. And we have a special thank you this week for Christina. Christina was like, hey, I'll get the word out. We're like, well, thank you. Because Christina is one of those amazing people that you should kind of get to know. She does a lot of really good work guiding school leaders and doing all kinds of nice trainings for schools that are kind of like, we need to improve a little bit. She can do it. We're going to thank also Richard Byrne, who has a mailing list of about 18,000 people that he sends notes out to every week. And if you've ever wondered, well, what's that free tech for teachers thing? Give it a look. It's a fantastic site. There's a reason Richard's been successful. Wildly kind of fun and relaxed guy. He and I do a webinar earlier on Thursday afternoons called Two EdTech Guys Take Questions and Share Cool Stuff. Fantastic name, that, sort of. But we have a good time with it, and we hope that, that if you have questions, you might send them to us, and we'll answer them, and we share cool stuff along the way. So, time for you to meet us, and we're going to start with Tom, who is joining us today. So, Tom, tell the group a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rushton and Susan. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, one thing you can tell, I'm just for the occasion. I'm a super Jamboard fan, or stan, if you want to call it that. I don't work at Google, but so I was able to score this t-shirt. And so I said, yes, I'm going to wear that. My career in education, 16 years, I was special education, followed by middle and high school social studies. And now I am an education consultant. So I work with districts, and what we're doing now on Zoom and Google Meet, I'm doing that all day out of my bedroom. So that's kind of what I do now. And just any opportunity to talk about Jamboard, let's rock and roll. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, Tom. It is our pleasure to have you with us, for sure. Susan, a little about yourself.
Hello, hello. I am Susan Stewart. I'm an instructional technology teacher on special assignment. Tech coach. I'm a tech coach from California. I've held my role now for 7 years, in which I get to support 130 amazing teachers. Before my role as a tech coach, I spent 14 years teaching kindergarten and second grade. And I'm just really excited here to talk about one of my very, 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 very favorite new tools, and that is Jamboard.
Awesome. My name is Rushton Hurley. I'm a former high school teacher of Japanese, did a little bit of middle school teaching of video production, became a principal of a K-12 and then an online high school. And then I started Next Vista for Learning. That is the little nonprofit logo right there for my little nonprofit baby I birthed. It is a library of videos by and for teachers and students everywhere, free to use, free to contribute to, free to download from, all for a student audience, all screened content, my own little attempt to save the universe from ignorance, one creative video at a time. Get involved, let me know, stay in touch. Like let's celebrate the things that you and your students are doing in video as well. And you can actually get a Starbucks card just because you watch. What? That's crazy. What that is like if you have not signed up for my newsletter, I'm going to put a link in the chat here in a minute, and you just sign up for the newsletter, and you might win a card, right? Because I'm going to give one away. And if you're like, but I've already signed up, then go ahead and just like go to that thing and put the info in again, and just in the comments say, well, I'm already on the newsletter. I'll still put your name in the hat. No worries there. So if you're kind of into a little extra caffeine, hopefully that'll help. All right, how's this going to work? Like it does every week, we take an idea, an activity, a tool, whatever it is, and we start talking about it across grade levels. And we start with the young learners with one of the coolest experts in that field. That would be Susan at Tech Coach Susan. So Susan, get us talking about using Jamboard with little kiddos.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about Jamboard first. I just want to kind of slow down and talk about what it is, simply because it is one of the newer tools in the Google Suite. And I thought, what better way to get introduced to Jamboard than just dive in and play with one? Rushton, we click on those cute animals right there, and it's going to load up a Jamboard for you right there in the slide.
I will do it right there. Here we go.
Because I think before we really start, digging into across the grade levels, let's just see what this thing does. So what you see here is a Jamboard. It works much like your Google Docs or your Google Slides. It lives in your Google Drive. I love looking at a Jamboard, and sometimes I think of it as a really, really simple Google slide, or maybe a really fancy Google slide. If you think of it that way, you see a really basic interface. What I love about it, especially with my young learners, is that there aren't a lot of extra buttons. You see a simple toolbar on the left-hand side, and across the top, Rushton, you see there's a button that says 1 of 9. In a minute, that's where we're gonna turn the page, but not just yet. What we're gonna do is do a quick little interactive activity. So right now, Rushton has this Jamboard, and you see over on the left-hand side, under the arrow, there's a thing called a sticky note, right? That's the sticky, and that's one way to add text in there. So Rushton, will you go ahead and type your name there and cast your vote? We wanna know, important data collection going on right now. Are you team cat or team dog?
Okay, while I like both, I am going to put myself on the cat side of the equation right over here.
Awesome. And here's the thing that's amazing about a Jamboard. Rushton is doing his, but much like all of the googly things, I can add mine right now too. I am working collaboratively with Rushton in this Jamboard. So it's a Google tool, and it has all that Google collaboration. I can cast my vote. Rushton, Tom, I think we need a tiebreaker here. Which side are you going to find yourself on?
And hold on. I've only ever been a cat parent, so cat it is.
Oh, there we go. The kitties win. So you can see it's just a fun way to have a quick little check for understanding. And anytime you're introducing a new tool to students, it is best to do something with a really low cognitive load, right? Something they're going to get right, something that they understand. Rushton, though, let's turn the frame. Turn the frame at the top there, and you'll see that there's another one. Now, this is the exact same activity, and I did include a scaffold for young learners. You'll see there that the names have been pre-populated. So if you're talking about pre-K or K young learners and you're working live in your synchronous meeting, sometimes adding that tiny scaffold of already having placed their names on stickies allow it to be a little bit easier where they can just click and drag and slide their name. So I really love this idea of being able to have this as a quick check-in, a quick little conversation starter, the beginning of our meeting. Will you go ahead and continue on to the next frame, Rushton? And you can see we could do other things here like cast votes. Now it looks like there's just one check mark there, but there's actually a tiny pile of check marks. So if we all wanted to cast our vote about what kind of ice cream is our favorite, we could click and drag and put it where we like. I'm really glad that we have some straight priorities here, because sometimes people choose that funny green stuff in the top. And I personally think that tastes a little bit like frozen toothpaste, not my favorite, but you can see again, quick little check for understanding. As we turn to the next page, again, we're just introducing Jamboard here. How did we do this? That's what I wonder. Maybe I want to have a quick social emotional check with my learners. Learners of all ages could have an opportunity to share just how you doing. So Rushton, I'd love to show you how you can insert some images into this Jamboard by clicking on the mountain icon on the left-hand side. Notice how we're just kind of getting a feel for this Jamboard. You could do a quick Google image search, and you could go ahead and type in like happy emoji. Awesome, and you can grab it. And just like a lot of the familiar Google tools, Rushton could then, choose a few different emoji, resize them, put them in the corners, and we could have the same kind of vote activity, but instead of students having to, out their feelings, they could just slide to however they're feeling. Maybe they're feeling sad or nervous or anxious. It could be a quick little activity for checking in at the beginning of the day, a little social emotional check. I'm gonna have you go ahead and turn on just another page just to look at some ideas. We won't do many more of them, but notice that I could use this for a phonics activity. And continuing on, you can choose a little carrot. Instead of pulling the drop down, you can also choose a little carrot too. There you go. See that? There we go. That's another way to turn the page. Very cool. We could do some math. We could start doing some more serious academics here. Maybe I'm sorting value of fractions between 0 and 1, or value of decimals between 0 and 1, or maybe both. As we continue on, I know Tom has added a couple more examples here.
So I did, Susan, and that, I love that fraction one. And my special ed background is just, I love that one. That is so good. So I had a few ideas. One is, so to me, Jamboard is wonderful for that collaboration. You know, you start off small, maybe 2 students at a time, and you build up to a group, right? It's a great tool for groups to collaborate with each other. And so in the sticky notes, there are 5 colors. So one structure you can give kids is say, all right, Monica, you're using the yellow, and Rachel, you're using the green, and Phoebe blue, and so on and so forth. So as long as your group is 5, so that way we can identify, okay, these are contributions, these are ideas, maybe feedback. It could be a lot of different things. It's just great for taking in feedback and brainstorming for sure. So that was just one brainstorm. If we go to the next one. So I like, you know, in middle and high school, you ask students to research, and it's a nice way to kind of make the research visual. You know, have your students screen capture what they, you know, their source. So they're using a digital source, let them screen capture it and use the mountain icon to insert that screen capture, right? So anything you can screen capture, you can put in a Google Jamboard jam. Right, and that would be under upload. Now, Rushton, I don't know what you have on your device. You don't have to put anything on there right now, but you get my point. You can, if you can upload it as an image, you can put it on there, and then they can add, you know, hey, this is what I took from that source, and then the teacher can add sticky notes with a little feedback. Oh, this is a really good source. I like what you know, thank you for sharing what you learned from it, or maybe this is a source you should reconsider, you know, whatever it might be. Right now, there's 2 ways to input text: the sticky notes and the text box at the very bottom. So there, you know, now that's really nice for that as well. All right, and that last one, so the last one was my idea of, you know, soliciting feedback or thoughts. You know, and a lot of things teaching history, it's, you know, what are positives, what are negatives? And so, all right, we evaluate Lincoln as president during the Civil War, some of the decisions he made. And so if you think it's a criticism, you know, use a pink sticky note. The red one kind of renders pink, so I'll call it pink in that context there. And if you think it was a good decision that he made, use a blue sticky note. And then you kind of see what people are saying, and it's color coded and whatnot. So those are just some, you know, thinking about the secondary teacher and what they can do with Jamboard.
Awesome, thank you. I really thought it would be a good idea to dig in and try one out, but we're going to continue on now and just look at a couple more across the grade level ideas. And honestly, the reason why Jamboard became so popular with my teachers was that ability to show writing live during their Google Meets. It also can be used during Zoom or anywhere where you can project the screen. Because Jamboard can be browser based in many situations there, it is going to be projectable in whatever video conferencing tool you're using. But my teachers, especially primary teachers, know that there's a big difference between showing a printed letter B and showing that letter B being printed, right? Live letter formation is one reason why we loved bringing Jamboard into our synchronous learning opportunities. We know that the teacher can display that Jamboard from either Chrome or from a secondary device. So sometimes teachers will bring up like their phone, or maybe they'll bring up an iPad and be able to interact with it live in their meeting as well. Students can, of course, collaborate. One thing I love about Jamboard here is that we can do this as everyone writing on one Jamboard. In the examples we just showed, there was one Jamboard and we were all interacting with it. But a cool thing to note is that Jamboards distribute in Google Classroom, much like many of the other tools, where Google Classroom can take a single Jamboard and give a copy to each of my learners. Coming up soon, we are actually going to be able to have some direct integration with Google Meet in the updates that are coming out very, very soon. Just a couple more early elementary examples I show here. You can see it's been used across the content areas, text annotations, math activities, many different ways that we might use Jamboard for modeling and interactive small group and whole group lessons with my young learners. As we continue on through some of the upper elementary students, we have some additional examples. This was actually a live meeting today with kids in my district. I went in to visit some of my classrooms, which is what I do. And this fourth grade teacher, they had just read this informational text about some natural disasters. And she was having them brainstorm ideas about a writing project they were working on right then and there. And they were all putting in their collaborative ideas about their brainstorm. And if you turn the page, you'll see there's actually all of their ideas big and clear. And it was so awesome that here we have these students in different places, but they're still sharing ideas and interactive and engaging with each other. So it just really warmed my heart. And it was just, again, talk about timely. Right now, this happened today in a classroom right here. And then there's one more set of examples. And what I do love about Jamboard is I had a mind mapping activity and asked the kids, hey, will you tell me about someone who's made an impact on you? And I love the fact that they all look so different, right? They were supposed to start brainstorming a writing activity they were going to do about someone who made an impact. And each of these, the students were able to get the central idea. There's a person, and we're going to give some characteristics of that person, but they were all able to express it in such a unique and individual way.
All right, so let's move on to middle school. Tom, I know you've got a few ideas to throw in on that front.
Oh, middle school. Yes, yes, yes. So one thing I would say is you can, in the background of a jam, you can set it, and one of them is lined paper, although it's college ruled. I don't like that college ruled. I need it a little bigger, but the best one is the graph paper. So you can set it to be to basically be graph paper. And that is infinite collaborative graph paper, right? So how cool is that? Now I would suggest with this pairs. So you pair up students and you say, all right, can you graph this line? Can you, show me where the y-intercept is? Can you demonstrate, or say, I need a line that has a slope of 1 or a slope of -1, whatever it may be. So you have that graphing background built in that, lets them do that. The other thing I'd say, storyboarding, any kind of storyboarding at all. You're about to create a paper, any kind of fiction work, whatever it may be. You can storyboard scenes in this so nicely. And now they just recently added an update with shapes. So the shapes include an arrow. So perfect for, I think back to special education days when I taught science, water cycle, relationships, cycles, systems, anything like that. You can use those arrows, and it's a nice way to demonstrate that, whether you're using this text or the drawing tools or whatever it may be. And on to high school. All right, so I already shared the idea of documenting research sources. The one thing that really comes to mind to me is, in high school, it's a lot of unit by unit teaching. And you look at your unit and you think, all right, there's subtopics. So if I'm teaching French Rev, the Three Estates is a big topic. The Jacobins and the Reign of Terror, Napoleon. And so you could say, hey, you group, you are going to be my Three Estates. So anything that has to do with the Three Estates, I need you to keep a jam as we go and document the most important things, the vocabulary, some imagery. And when we start talking about the Jacobins and the Reign of Terror, I need you documenting that. And then at the end, you can have a little gallery walk of all the jams, right? So it's, creativity, expression, and, a nice way to look at it visually and then kind of consolidate some learning with that. Parking lot. So right now we are in a situation, how many PDs have you been in where it's okay, if you have ideas, let's go and let's put them on a sticky note on a piece of paper on the side. Well, we can't do that, but we can do it virtually now. And Jamboard is a great place to do that. So whether it's a back channel for questions or a parking lot for questions, is perfect. And the one thing I would say, I mentioned this earlier, but anything you can screen capture, you can annotate. So if you as a teacher want to give feedback on something, you have a Google Doc, you take page 2, you screen capture it, you throw it on there. Here, I just put our slides for the night and put it on there and said, here's some feedback, add an image, change this font color, whatever it may be. But, you name it, if you can screenshot it, you can put it in Jamboard and annotate, draw, sticky note, whatever you want on top of it.
Very, very cool. Now, I have a question that came up when I was talking with some people about Jamboard quite recently, and I'll take you back to this, see if you guys have, kind of a particular way of thinking about this. When when we're talking about like having kids, put some things in kind of like we did back here, right? Because this is a collaborative tool, right? Kind of like slides or anything else. You can work together to build things, and let's try this over here. But that also means that I can say, oh, okay, I'm going to move Susan's over a bit. Now, is that the kind of thing where you look at it and you go, okay, it's just a trade-off? Being able to work on things together means that that allows people to say, let's talk about how this might work out. Or does it become a problem, or both? Where kids are like, I'm moving Tom over to the dogs, even though that he's more of a cat person. How do you guys look at that in Jamboard?
You want to go? I'll start with this.
Okay.
One thing, it's a whole new kind of classroom management you're dealing with here, right? Just the explicit modeling and saying things like that. I do notice that I can move Tom's, but I know that the right choice, of course, is to just work on my own content. Also with young ones, sometimes I could go over to Tom's and I might accidentally delete it. It might not have even been with any kind of, bad intention. So teaching kids how to recover things like that undo button, backwards undo, it's right there. So yes, absolutely. You do, there's that layer of classroom management. If you flip over to the Piggy one, for example, I think it's about frame 3 or 4. When you bring something like this up in a collaborative sense with the learners, just like you put a pile of marbles on the table, if you don't explicitly say, hey guys, hold off, I'm gonna do the first one, what are they all gonna do? Grab, 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 grab. They're gonna reach out and touch those things. So if I don't say, okay, I'll go first, I'm gonna spell pig. Let me see if I can find the letters to make pig. And I'll put it down there, and I might even, put them in space. Let me go ahead and grab that myself. I'm gonna say p, I, g, and I might even grab that laser pointer. There's a cool laser pointer, and say p, I, g. But I've established the routine. Oh, what's the whole word, guys? It's pig. Establish the classroom management that says, okay, Tom, it's your turn now, right? And so having just that routine and expectation and just kind of building those procedures, just like you would do with anything in an in-person class, you do have some of that classroom management. It's a whole new kinds of classroom management. And of course, there is the layer of digital citizenship. You want to add anything to that, Tom?
Susan, everything you said about expectations, 100%. The only thing I can add is that when you think of it structurally, I advocate, no matter what the grade, start small. So start on the individual, because it's a lot. I mean, this is a great sketchnoting tool, especially if your kids are using iPads. It's sublime on an iPad. It's so good on an iPad. So you start off small, and then you say, hey, we could do this in pairs. And for me, although I will say on frame 3, I loved what you had on frame 3 there, where the names were there. So as a student, I know to go grab my name, right? And that's, I don't know, that's maybe 12, 15 kids there. To me, that's setting 15 kids up for success in a jam. Having said that, I would advocate you start small, you get them in pairs, and then we go to groups. I was telling teachers today, your groups of 5 to 7 students are perfect for Jamboard, right? I do think, Google Slides, if I want all 30 of my students collaborating in one place, I feel like Slides is probably a better place, because I could set some boundaries, and I could say, group 1 gets these slides, or I name a slide for each child. But Jamboard, to me, that sweet spot is that 5 to 7 group of students, and that makes it more likely that students will make good decisions and work well together.
Really nice. Now, you mentioned a minute ago that that there's Jamboard for the iPad, right? Are there any limitations with the iPad version of Jamboard that you've run into?
You want to take that, Tom?
All right, I'll just start. The answer is no. So everything we can do here in the web version, we can do more. So if you've ever played with AutoDraw, and if AutoDraw is a foreign concept to you, just go to autodraw.com right now. It's so cool. It's Google's AI AutoDraw tool. It's predictive drawing. So if you're trying to, oh yeah, there you go. Rushton, you drew a perfect slipper. No, you didn't, but it corrected your drawing for you. I like to draw planet Earth, draw a basketball, stuff like that. And looks like a jar. Oh, are you in the, I think you're in the free tool right now, Rushton. You're in the actual freehand. You want to go into
Say, That's not a good sign on my part that it's like, I have no idea what you're doing. So this could be a cupcake. I'm trying to get like a basketball net. And do you, so it's got this stuff up here. Ooh,
yes. So you
nice.
make a choice and it's that kind of basket or bag or whatnot. And so
or if you're quite poor at it, it could say, well, you probably wanted a hot dog, and fair enough. So
that's baked into the iPad app, and so is shape recognition and handwriting recognition. I don't know about you, Susan. I just think it's wonderful on iPads. Great thing to use.
Have either of you worked with Notability as an iPad app? And so Susan, when you think about Notability and Jamboard, like talk about distinctions between, actually describe Notability and then talk about distinctions between the two.
So we use Notability quite frequently. The reason why my teachers love Notability is because it allows them to annotate sound, much like we could do here. They're able to pull up PDFs from our curriculum, from resources they've acquired or created from other places, and they can write on it. Notability does allow them to show their iPad, display their iPad, even during their live synchronous instruction, and annotate. And that ability to easily import a PDF, especially, or a PowerPoint even, and annotate on it, makes Notability amazing. What makes Jamboard just have this slight edge when you're talking about student use is the collaboration feature, right? In Notability, that is a one person displaying to, right? And we use it a lot for that. But I don't have that interactivity that I'd really like. So the Jamboard has that writing, the annotation, being able to mark up something, absolutely. And I can share it with my kids and they can share it with each other.
Very nice. All right. Well, let's kind of get back to where we are with what we're doing with all of these things. The goal with these shows, all of the webinars we're doing, is to give teachers the opportunity to have extra tools in their tool belt for helping their kids out. Our job is to care for them, to care for their learning. And of course, to do that, you got to take some time to care for yourself. If you haven't been, if you've been kind of stressed with all of this lately, make sure you're getting away from the screen from time to time. Take a walk, spend some time with your cat or your dog, right? And just take care of yourself. That means that you are optimally in that place when you need to be creative for a kid who desperately needs something a little bit different. Now, my little nonprofit is one where I hope you will kind of pay a little attention to the videos that we've got there. We've got all kinds of things we're proud of: advice for teens, videos to help kids learn English, videos on careers, service to others. We're doing a lot of different things. And if you're curious about any of that, let me know. I have a blog called Inspiring Improvement that I hope you will take a look at as well. And I've written some books. Shameless plug time it is, yes. So if you're trying to get better as a teacher, 50 short chapters, 2 to 3 pages each, that are each designed to help you go, maybe I'll try that, right? And all good. Making your school something special is about fostering and sharing stories of success, building your team. And then Technology, Teamwork, and Excellence from NCEA is a book about how to use tech in order to build your school as a leader. So if you're interested in any of these, or you want to work with your colleagues on it, just feel free to let me know. Happy to work with you. If you have some questions, feel free to stick around, right? Because what we're going to do is, after we stop the recording, we're going to keep talking to Susan and Tom about Jamboard. And if you've got questions about it, that'll be perfect for you to be able to just toss them in there. So Tom, go ahead and finish us off.
Okay, so if you want to connect with me, I'm at Tom E. Mullaney on Twitter. I spell my last name with 2 L's, unlike the comedian John Mullaney, who uses 1 L. And I'm also at tommullaney.com, and there I blog, and a lot of my blog posts are about Jamboard. So feel free to connect. I love connecting with teachers on Twitter. And if I could be a resource for you in any way, I try to be.
Susan.
And I'm Susan. You can find me on the internet at Tech Coach Susan. And I often share and create and participate in a community of learners under the hashtag K2Can2, because we're all about empowering young learners.
Fantastic. My name is Rushton Hurley. I am all about my little nonprofit that I told you about, but we also do lots of webinars. We work in Next Vista to provide resources that you might need in order to get your students all the more excited about some creative exercise they're doing, or to celebrate the things that they put together. I hope that will be something that you take a good long look at it. And if you have any questions about any of it, just feel free to reach out. If you're at nextvista.org, you can click contact to get a note directly to me. And we would love for you, while you're there, to sign up for the upcoming webinars, which will happen next Thursday. 2 EdTech guys take questions and share cool stuff is at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. And activities across grade levels is at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. We hope to see you then. Thank you for joining us today.